We're back. This is Investing Insights with Barry Burnett. I'm your host, Barry Burnett, here on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're delighted that you're listening. And if you're listening, you're probably a homeowner and an entrepreneurial investor. Now, what's the difference between an entrepreneurial investor and an investor? Well, insurance companies are also investors, and they own more than you do. And hedge funds and banks and savings organizations and groups along those lines, and we are not even concerned with them. We don't care what they do because they've got large staffs and a fairly heartless way of doing their matrix to determine how they're going to invest and own. We're talking to you because you're an entrepreneurial investor who is buying and owning and holding for the benefit of your family and for your future, which generally implies some idea towards your future retirement, maybe. Well, a lot of people don't give that much thought. Now, in our studio, our spectacular guest, Mike Meena, president of Augusta Financial, and in 2013, number 7 in the nation in loan production. Mike, what's the hot button about people's future for you?
Well, the hot button is you think about where people are at right now, and you think about the retirements that they're giving, and the big corporations no longer have pensions that they're giving to us, the people.
Or they're robbing the pension funds.
Well, or whatever's happening. And we don't know if Social Security is going to be there, and I'm one of those that believes it will always be there because our kids will pay for it when we get to that point. But you think about the retirements, and people don't have those anymore unless they're working for a government agency. So where does that go? You look at the people that worked at American Airlines and they went bankrupt, or Mervyn's and they went bankrupt and they had a 401k. They don't have that anymore. We need to establish this ourselves. We can't trust the government. We can't trust the corporations that we work for that are going to have a pension there for us, because we're living longer. And I hope you and I are both going to live past 100. And that's how I look at it. We got to prepare to be 100 years old. And what are we going to do? We're going to slow down at that point, but we're not going to die. We need to have money.
Well, last December when I hit 60 years old, I realized, golly, I'm going to have to get used to the concept. I'm now middle-aged. Mm-hmm. I'm halfway there. Yeah. And I'd better plan pretty aggressively. Now, how do you see this planning aggressively for a longer life?
Well, I mean, real estate is the greatest investment in the world. If you think about, we were talking before and we're saying, that the owners of the Clippers, the owner of the Lakers, the former owner of the Dodgers, I guess a former owner of the Clippers, they all did it in real estate. Now, how did they do it? They started with one house. They started with one fourplex. They started with one apartment building. That's how you start. So you buy your first house and you move up and you never sell a property. And you just keep doing that. And the properties eventually become paid for, and you have that. But it's about leverage with real estate. It's not the stock market where you make 10% or 8% on average for a 40-year period. If the real estate market, and the real estate market here in California has gone up 6.1% over the last 52 years on average. So if you look at that and you bought a $400,000 house today, and it went up 6%, it's going to go up $24,000. That's $2,000 per month that you live in that property. That's leverage. If you bought that property, you put 25% down, $100,000 down, it goes up $24,000. You're making 24% on that as an investor.
Now, we just came out of a 5-6 year recession.
Great.
Where evaluations plunged right into the toilet. And some people lost a ton of money because they sold, right?
Right.
If they hadn't sold, would they have lost the money?
No, because what were you doing? You were holding that. I was raising rents through the recession. People were losing houses, and we were taking advantage. When you're renting out a property, you're not necessarily jacking up rents, but you're going up 3 to 5% per year, because that's what it's going to allow you, because that's what the consumer price index allowed in a lot of the rent-controlled areas, and that's what you're going to do. So did I lose tenants? Not really. Did I lose a lot of tenants? No. Did I have some bad tenants? Yeah, I had a couple bad ones. But I never lost the property. I have properties that I paid $600,000 for that are worth $525 today. But you know what? They're almost paid for. And my renter's been paying those rents for me for the last, 12 or 15 years.
So tenants are building your future.
Absolutely.
Well, this is Investing Insights with Barry Burnett on KABC. And the reason we're talking to Mike Meena, from the president of Augusta Financial and a top producing loan officer in the entire nation, the reason we're talking to you as entrepreneurial investors is this is real aha light bulb stuff for you. So if you missed what he was talking about retirement, we're going to go on about it. We're going to talk a little bit more. But the thing is, there are tremendous takeaways. So be sure you catch the rebroadcast at barryburnett.net. The rebroadcast of this show and the YouTube access through barryburnett.net. You can also pick up our spectacular blogs and white papers that deal with making your personal investment portfolio stronger, safer, smarter. Now, Mike, you were talking about people's retirement and talking about appreciation. I've always said that whatever you buy and sell is income, and in the past 5 years, some people have had a negative income. But whatever you buy and keep is wealth.
Right.
Do you believe that?
Oh, I believe that's very true.
Well, you were just talking that vein, so let's expand the conversation. Let's say that somebody buys, Aaron, somebody buys their house. It's gone up in value. They've now got a pool of, say, $300,000 in equity on their $600,000 home. Is there a possibility that they can refinance that property and buy another?
There is. You have untapped potential by having that equity sit in that house. So, of course, you would want to get that equity out, and we do have programs that allow that to happen where you can get the cash out, pivot off that property, keep that property, and yet go out and obtain another property. And as Mike has pointed out, these properties are appreciating. That's how you're going to make wealth today.
Key thing is keep that property.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're going to become a landlord.
Well, to just, real quickly, I think about Donald Trump. I know it might be controversial, but Donald Trump is a real estate tycoon, and Donald Trump's motto is you never sell, you only buy property. And that's how Donald Trump has become a billionaire.
Well, there are a couple of very fabulous families that I have worked with and admired very closely through the many, many years, the 41 years I've been in the real estate business, and their principle was buy and don't sell. And there were times that they actually did sell, but it wasn't really much a sale as much as they were creating a whole new group of which they retained a partnership, and they turned around and cashed their equities and leveraged their equities. Now, Mike, you mentioned something about the stock market, that somebody can make maybe 6 or 8% in the stock market, but that's based on $100,000 of parked money, $100,000 without leverage. Go back and talk about the leverage in real estate investments.
Well, I mean, if you put 20% down on a property and the value goes up 3%, you're actually making 15% on your investment. Plus, the renter is putting money down. I mean, is paying down principal on your investment also. So if you look at it that way and you look at over the long haul, you're making much more than you are in real estate. Now, if you don't own a home today and you went in and you bought a property, say with 10% down, use that as a simple number. You put 10% down on a $500,000 property and that property goes up 3%, it goes up $15,000. What did you make on your investment? You made 15% on your investment. That's what keeps happening. Eventually that property gets paid off, okay? But take another guy who's close to retirement. Say he's our age. Say he's 50 years old. He's got 15 years and he wants to retire. At 65 years old, he wants to retire and he's done nothing to save for his retirement. He's put his life, his heart, and his soul into his business, and his business isn't really going to be that saleable when he retires at 65. And what's he going to do? How's he going to retirement? Well, if he bought 2 or 3 properties today and 15 years from now, they're worth double times 2, 4 times the amount, and the people have been paying him off, what's going to happen then? Then all of a sudden he's got that money. He can go ahead and take that money and live off that retirement. So I don't say hold till you're blue in the face. Mm-hmm. I say do it in a smart way. Yeah. Set yourself up in the right way. But too many people don't do it, and they're afraid to take that step into real estate. We're going to
talk about that in the next segment when we come right back. This is Investing Insights with Barry Burnett. I'm your host, Barry Burnett. We're talking with Mike Meena, president of Augusta Financial, Aaron DesMarais, senior loan officer. I am really proud you're on this show. Come right back. We've got more and really bright aha moments.